Joining us now, live from Harrisonburg. Now, that's the real center of the universe, is Harrisonburg. It's not Randolph-Macon College. I've always thought the center of the universe is Harrisonburg. Joining us now, Senator Mark Obenshain. Senator, great to have you with us, sir.
John, it's good to be with you. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Always a pleasure. Now, Senator, you know a thing or two about recounts, canvasses, and close statewide elections. Can you give us an update? What's going on with the Gillespie-Warner deal now?
Yeah, well, apparently everybody in Virginia is becoming familiar with recounts, close elections, and canvasses. None of these terms are new to people anymore. This is, heck, we had the Allen Webb, we had the McDonnell deeds, we had mine, now we've got this one. So this is hardly new. Virginia's a battleground state. Every year is going to be a slugfest. And right now, it's a close race. I wish it was 1,200 instead of 12,000 or whatever it is. They're going through the canvassing process, which, of course, is the hard count on election night. It was a quick and dirty count that always has mistakes. The following morning, after everybody's gotten at least some sleep, we do the real count, and those numbers are being compiled. And quite frankly, I think Virginians deserve a solid, reliable count before anybody makes decisions about where to go next.
I couldn't agree with that more. And so how long, Senator, will this process take to play out, sir?
Well, I think that we're going to have some good hard numbers probably later today. And so we'll know where the election stands and have a better idea as to whether there were any unexpected swings and whether this is one that warrants a recount. As you may remember, under 1%, if there's under 1% difference between the two candidates, you're entitled to a recount as a matter of law. However, unless it's under 0.5%, if the person who loses the recount, if a person loses a recount, they've got to pay for it themselves. So, it's an expensive process to go through statewide. So, you've got to have some pretty good assurance that there's something seriously wrong, or else you're going to be saddled with you and your supporters going to be saddled with a pretty big expense. So, the important thing to watch is this going to get under 0.5%?
Now, if it's under 0.5%, that's paid for by the state of Virginia, right?
Yeah, that's right. And there's a legitimate public interest in making sure that we have reliable election results. And the judgment's been made that, hey, if it's under 0.5%, voter confidence is the public interest that's at stake. And we've got a good, legitimate reason that the state ought to be paying for it.
Senator Obenshain, the day after the election, Pat Mullins resigning as chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia, he's had a string of some tough losses and decided his age and other things for retiring. Now, going into this next phase, State Senate and House of Delegates up in 2015, that's going to be a battle. President 2016, Governor, Attorney General, Lieutenant Governor 2017. Chairman of the Republican Party right now is going to be very critical. How do you see that playing out, sir?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, Pat did a great job as chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. He's a warrior. He's been a unifier, and it's tough duty. And I wonder why anybody'd want that job, because you're taking shots from all sides. And heck, my sister did that job, and she did a good job. But when she took it, I asked her, why on earth would you take a lousy job like that? But you're right. It is critically important. We've got to pull the party together. We've got to have somebody who's a grassroots-oriented chairman, but has the capacity to raise the resources that we need in order to be able to have an effective statewide effort. And that's a tall order. We've got some great leaders in the party, and I'm confident that we'll come up with somebody who's going to be able to lead the charge this next year. The control of the state Senate is at stake. We've got a 21-19 margin right now, but a governor who undoubtedly is going to pump significant resources into these races. We're going to need all the organization and all the resources we can get.
What you just said, Senator, as you go into this next cycle for 2015, we have no doubt, anybody that follows this stuff knows that Governor McAuliffe is going to raise an enormous amount of money on behalf of both senatorial Democrat incumbents and challengers in order to try to get control back. And Republicans don't necessarily have the kind of fundraising juice or star that McAuliffe is, especially since the defeat of a majority leader, Eric Tanner, back in the spring. So how are you guys going to overcome what is obviously going to be a big financial advantage for the Democrats?
Well, number one, we have great candidates, and that goes a long way. We've got people who've been working hard, who've been serving the people in their districts, doing the constituent service, and they're incumbents, and that counts for a lot. Number two is Terry McAuliffe and the Democrats who are going to be running are going to face some of the same problems that Democrats across the country faced this year. And that is that they are on the Obama team. Mm-hmm. We are working on Medicaid expansion. The governor's been pushing for 2 years, it seems like 2 years, for a year, trying to ram Obamacare expansion down the throats of Virginians. That is not going to play well. We had a disparity of resources and races across the country. Look at our U.S. Senate race. Mark Warner outspent Ed Gillespie more than 2-1, mm-hmm. and that did not pay the dividends that all the pundits expected mm-hmm. That it was going to pay. So, I think we're going to raise the resources, number one. Number two, we've got the issues and the wind in our sails.
Well, as you know, my predictions are seldom wrong, and I think you're going to gain 2 seats and have a 23-17 advantage. I think you're going to win the 6th district. The Eastern Shore is really turning red. You've got a couple of great candidates there, and although Linwood is always tough to beat, that's just the whole thing is turning the other way, so I think you win that. And then I think Edwards' days in the 21st district are numbered. You guys recruited a fabulous candidate down there, Dr. Nancy Dodds. I think you're going to pick 2 seats up, and even though you're probably going to get outspent, just the way Gillespie did 2-1. But just like you said, good candidates matter, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Nancy Dye is a great friend and is a fantastic candidate with deep roots in Roanoke. She's brings some non-traditional factors to that race. We also have races like the one in Prince William County. Chuck Colgan is going to be retiring this year, and that's a very winnable seat. So we've got a handful of seats that we could pick up. Heck, my family's from the Eastern Shore of Virginia. It's home for me, and I know the shore, and you're right. It's tough beating somebody from the shore in a district like that, but, frankly, when you've got Obamacare as the number one issue, it is, it's only going to go but so far.
Plus, you've got Wayne Coleman, who was defeated by 10 votes by Senator Lewis in the special in January. I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, Senator, Wayne has not stopped campaigning. He's still calling voters every day, and he's going to be very, very tough to beat in there. So you've got some good things going on. Now let's get to the upcoming General Assembly, Senator. What do you see there? What is a couple of your top priorities?
Well, I think that we've got to continue to work to prioritize our spending. We're in the middle of a tough budget cycle. I don't know what it is about Democratic governors and deficits, but it seems like every time we have one, we have a budget crisis. Just give me the past 4 years where we had surpluses every single year, and I'd be happy. But that's going to be a tough challenge, making sure that we have the resources to meet our transportation needs, our education needs, our public safety needs. I think that we also have to, look at at public safety trends. I look at what Greg Abbott did in Texas, led the fight against human trafficking, and we've got to continue to fight that fight here in Virginia because sex trafficking of children, like it or not, like talking about it or not, it is the fastest growing criminal enterprise in the world. And gangs are turning to it, and it's happening in our malls, our middle schools, online, and we've got to give law enforcement the tools necessary to protect our kids and women in our communities. So, we've got a number of challenges that lie ahead. We've got to continue to grow the economy and create good jobs for our kids as they graduate from high school and college so they can stay near home rather than having to go across the country to get good jobs. So, we've got our share of challenges.
Are you going to be open to the idea in 2017, sir, of running for governor?
Well, let me just say, first of all, I'm flattered that you'd ask. Second, we've got 15 and 16 ahead of us. I am continuing to travel the state. I put a lot of miles on my car campaigning for Ed Gillespie around Virginia this year, all over the Commonwealth. I'm keeping my foot in the door. I'm evaluating my options as we move forward. We've got to retake the state, the governor's mansion in 2017. And, I'm going to be taking a look at what my options are, the advisability and viability of a campaign, and talking to a lot of people. So, the time is not now. Right now, we've got to bring home this U.S. Senate race, and we've got to win these elections in 2015.
All right, it's going to be the final word.